Good. Yay. There's our phone magic. Yes, we are in fact good. Yay. Yeah, no, we're all good. Okay, nothing's exploding. Yay. Yeah. Actually, matter of fact, one is the music. No, the music's good. Okay, we're good. Yes, everything is nice and alive and living and breathing and not dying. Ideal. The best conditions. Everything is alive. Oh, hold on. Okay. Alright. There we go. The tracking was being evil. Oh, yeah, I'm a little tired. But, oh, hold on. I forgot. I gotta change this. I'm silly. There we go. Bam. Because I missed yesterday. It's not a bi-daily. It's a semi-daily. There we go. Bam. Better. And with that semi-daily announcement, time to not change not close the music, but change that song. Sadly. But we're not going to be doing much else because, or not, I can't speak. I'm tired. I'm going in the corner. There we go. Behold, a list. Tier list maker. Oh no, what are we going to do? Oh, we're making a tier list on the Soulstone Survivors characters. I like this game. It's very fun. So yeah, what we will be doing is... I need that to go up there. And then I need it to shrink. Much better. So yeah, we're going to be grading the characters of Soulstone Survivors. Why? Because I like it. And I actually feel like I have played this game enough and understand it enough to be able to sufficiently grade the characters. So we will do so. This game is 22 characters. And generally speaking, I don't have much to complain about for pretty much all of them except a handful. And most of that handful is just like minor things. I don't really have much to complain about. This game is very well balanced. I would feel the need to mention that. Like, virtually everyone, everywhere is going to be able to be fine. Like, there are things you can do and options available to you to make everyone playable no matter what. This will primarily be about how I feel with them. Like, how much do I enjoy playing as this character, right? What do I get from this character? Which is, of course, going to be opinionated. This is not fact-based. We're basically going off of vibes, but vibes of someone who has now spent 200 hours in this game and has 100%ed it. So, you know, there's absolutely people who've played more. They're going to have a different perspective, and they might have, you know, a bit more of an informed perspective because they might have toyed around with some things that I didn't. That's just the nature of these things. Don't take it too seriously. Enough yapping about nothing. Let's start talking about our first character, the Barbarian. The Barbarian is the starting character of the game. So how this game works, for the uninitiated, is, unlike a lot of other horde shooter games, you have, rather than access to individual weapons, you have access to certain attack types, and essentially everything in that generic tree. And some characters will have unique skills within that only they have access to. So, let's see. The Barbarian here, let's pull up the details, has access to electric, earth, swing, thrust, and slam type skills. Side note, I will often refer to swing by slash most of the time, just get used to it. The Barbarian also has passive stat increases. All the characters also have unique stat growths that they have individually, as well as that the weapons give them. I'm not going to go over the stat growths on the weapons individually, but I feel it is nice for the character, so you know where they're leaning mostly. So the Barbarian has plus 20 maximum health, 15% critical hit chance, 25% cast frequency, which is essentially attack speed, and 10% movement speed. Those are all very nice and quite enjoyable. Those are all good things to have. You have the best defensive stat buff with maximum health, and good damage increases all the board, and movement speed is really nice in this game. With that, the hardest part for me was essentially trying to pick how I would pick and place these characters. I feel that in my heart of hearts, I'm mostly just going to go off of what I think their best setups are. Or not necessarily best setups, but let's say best attack type, and then go from there. I think is the best way to go off of it. But as a matter of fact, before we get to the attack types, another important thing are the characters' passive skills. This game is a massive old skill tree, and when you level up the character, you get skill points, and you get access to a big old skill tree with a whole bunch of stuff. The Barbarian's passive skill is Rage Unleashed. By killing enemies, you'll fill up a rage meter, and then when you kill enough, it maxes out, and then you enter a rage state, and then you get a bunch of stats. Why am I not mentioning the stats? Virtually every number attached to everything in this game can be increased, so I'm not really going to be looking at negative numbers too often, because they usually don't matter. Just know that most numbers can get really big pretty quickly, and it's less about the numbers themselves and how easy it is to access the numbers. And in the Barbarian's case, it's very easy, actually. He has what is probably the simplest of all of the buff character passive states, which is just kill enemies. You kill enough, you get into a buff state. There will be variations on this. Some characters need to kill enough enemies and then they'll go over to a thing, or they kill enough enemies and then they stand near a thing, or they kill enough enemies and then something or some other thing happens. We'll go over those as we do that. The last thing I want to mention and explain are artifact powers. Artifact powers are basically a free extra ability you get for your character when you level up their weapon enough times. There's a blacksmith in the game, and enemies drop materials. You upgrade your weapon via that way. You upgrade it enough, you have access to artifact power. The Barbarian's artifact power is Warcry, which is basically a conical attack in front of you, and this is the important thing about artifacts, artifacts will basically be the same general concept, but then change their buff based on the weapon that it's attached to. For example, the Barbarian's swing weapon, the Barbaric Cleavers, will give the Barbarian multicast chance, but the Earth version, the Skullbreaker, will give him area size, or attack area, instead. So, overall, Warcry is fine. It's basically an additional attack that will go off every couple of attacks, which is pretty nice. On top of that, Each weapon has 2 unique skills that are unique to it, and the character individually has 3 unique skills individual to them. I will start with character skills and then go through the weapon ones. So, the Barbarian's character skills. Piercing Shout, a shout that does damage and applies Shattered. What the fuck is Shattered? Well, that's the thing about this game. This game has a whole hell of a lot of status effects. Positive ones, negative ones, ones that do damage, ones that don't do damage, ones that do things, ones that don't do things. Basically, we'll get to those. Shattered reduces the enemy's armor. That one's pretty good. I have no complaints, so it's pretty nice to have. For whatever reason, it's thrust. I mean, I kind of get it. You like scream for it's weird. It's really weird. But Piercing Shout is pretty fine. Boop. There we go. Gotta make sure that's I wanna move that. I'm gonna move that over here for me so it's in the middle of these 2 things so it's always visible. There we go. Anyway, Barbarian's next unique skill is Savage Strike. You swing in a big old direction, which for whatever reason, I don't like moves like this. This damage of this move is divided by the number of enemies hit. So the less enemies you hit with this attack, the better, which is really awkward in this game. Attack size increases are common, and you generally don't take this because it's just kind of awkward. There's very rarely a situation where you're actually 1v1ing an enemy. There's like a few seconds when a boss spawns, and then if you're doing Titan mode, there's like 1 phase basically of the final boss where that doesn't happen. You're very rarely going to be doing the maximum damage with this. It is good when it happens, it just doesn't happen. On top of that, this move also does give you Finesse. What is Finesse? Finesse gives you increased multicast chance per the amount of stacks you have on it. Very useful ability to have. Their final unique skill is Scent of Blood, where it is a buff skill. There's going to be a handful of those. It gives you cast frequency based on the amount of finesse stacks you have. And that is really good. Cast frequency is basically attack cooldown, which is effectively attack speed. So the more cast frequency, the better. Having it be based off of the amount of finesse you have on a character who will be very good at building finesse is also very good. So these are all pretty, overall, good, unique skills. To make this easier on myself, I think when I talk about weapon skills, because each character has at least 4 weapons, they are currently rolling out the 5th weapon for all the characters, but only 4 characters have their 5th weapon as of now. So to make this easier on myself, I'm only going to mention the weapon classes that I think are actually worth mentioning on the character. That's not, again, not to say that the other ones are completely useless. It's not to say they're unviable. It's not to say you can't make them work. I'm just going for what I felt was the best thing to utilize the character. Which for me, for the Barbarian, is easily the swing build. Their starting skill is Whirlwind, which does big ol' slash around you, which gains you Bulwark and Finesse. What is Bulwark? Bulwark increases your block power per the amount of stacks. Block power is literally just an amount of chance to not take damage from an attack. And in an ideal build, this will literally be so high, this will be as high as 90% chance to not take damage. So, you know, a 1 in 10 chance of actually taking damage from enemies is pretty damn good. On top of that, the other unique skill that this weapon has is Throwing Axe, where you throw an axe at an enemy. And then it comes back to you. It's more of a boomerang than an axe. You gain Finesse when you use it, as well as this has Piercing. Piercing does 20 extra damage for each target directly hit by the projectile. So basically, the more guys you hit with it, the more damage it does. It's quite fun. Now, the main reason I think Slash is the better of all the other builds that the Barbarian has access to is because it's probably the most versatile. You can do one or two things, and both are pretty good. There's my personal favorite, which is buff chaining. Where basically you will get the perks that you get upon level up, and you will build a chain of buffs. I'll explain that more when I get to an elemental character. as well as bleed. You see, one of the swing attacks gives you bleed, and when you get bleed, or when you get any ability really, one of the perks, a perk will appear that will allow all of your other attacks to also apply that element. And for Slash, this is really good, because Slash has access to Blade Storm. Blade Storm is one of the best attacks for applying statuses, because you're basically constantly spinning and applying an attack really quickly, every 0.3 seconds, which is very fast. I think the lowest any of these proc is at 0.2, and that was only recently with a new character. So, very good ability, very good effect. Overall, the Barbarian is a pretty good character. Are they a great character? I think they're good, but I don't think they have anything that necessarily pushes them over the edge. I think they're really good as a starting character. I will say that much. For a starting character, I don't think you could have picked a better character, to be quite honest. Yeah, I think good. I will leave them in good. Oh, I'm pretty sure I gotta skip that one, sadly. As good as it is. That one too. Shuffle is being mean to me today. Stop it. Alrighty, our next character, the Pyromancer. Whee! Boop! Alrighty, how should I do this? Yeah, you know what? I think I'll do stats, passive, artifact ability, weapons. Yeah. Weapons and weapon and attacks. Yeah, I'll do that. So, the Pyromancer's passive stats. They have -20 maximum health, 20% increased critical hit damage, 20% damage modifier, which is basically just base damage, -15 armor power, and +20 area modifier. So, you're taking a hit to your survivability in exchange for more damage. And honestly, in games like this, that's usually a good thing. Survivability in these types of games is usually a foregone conclusion, because you don't need to survive if everything in front of you is dead. This game is no different. So, yeah. The Pyromancer's passive is a concentration bar. Over time, and as you kill enemies, as long as you're not getting hit, this meter will fill up. When it's completely full, a portal will appear. You step inside of it and you enter an amped state. This amped state gives you increased stats, as well as causing you to constantly shoot out essentially a flamethrower unique to this state called Draconic Flame. It will do good burn stacks, as well as apply Shattered to enemies. What the hell is Shattered? Well, we mentioned it before. It reduces enemy armor power, so basically you're doing more damage, which is quite nice. You'll come to find that most fire will usually apply Shattered. For some reason. I don't know why. So overall, pretty good ability. You gain stats, pretty good stats overall, I should say, as well as a constant attack during this state, which is quite nice. The artifact power that the Pyromancer has is Phoenix Rebirth, where after you shoot a certain number of attacks, I don't think I mentioned that's how artifact power works. Basically, when you use attacks, this artifact power will activate after a certain number of attacks. Anyway, after you use a certain number of attacks, you will shoot out phoenixes that will fly around you and apply more burn if you're using fire. They'll do dazed if you're using electric. They'll do disarray if you're using chaos. They'll do doom if you're using shadow. And they'll apply fragility if you're using arcane. Not that most of those will matter, because if you're like me, you'll probably be using fire for this character. They are the Pyromancer after all. Why is that? Well, it's because of their unique character skills, which are all fire-based. Conflagrate constantly burns enemies around you. Not constantly, my bad. Mixing that up with the generic skill. This one's just a big old explosion around you that does a lot of damage, which is quite nice. Hits a lot of enemies. Firewall, which applies a firewall underneath an enemy, applying burn and weakness. Weakness increases the amount of damage enemies receive from dots. Damage over time effects, which you're using fire, they're going to be burning. This one works out pretty well. Only one problem. the targeting is random. That's going to be a very big problem for a lot of moves. For this one, not so much. But for other ones, we'll get to it. And their final unique skill is Meteor Shower, which is random, but also shoots out 16, so it's not as bad. 16 meteors that do damage based on the number of stacks of burn the target has. This is what I will refer to as a kill skill from now on. This is a skill that does more damage based on the number of X on an enemy. This one is a soft kill skill. What I mean by that is there are other kill skills that will completely remove the amount of stacks that the enemy has, but deal way more damage than these ones do. This one is soft because it doesn't remove those stacks. But honestly, any kill skill is a good kill skill. These are pretty good. They're usually the strongest attacks that the character has access to. And for fire, and this is going to be really important, fire does not have a generic fire kill skill in the general skills. There's no generic one, which is going to be a problem for fire in general. For a long time, fire was the weakest of the elements and that's just not worth using overall. It's still, I think the worst of them, but it's at least good. It's usable. It's just the least good out of a general situation. But there's one other important thing I forgot to mention, which is what I'm going to mention now, when I mentioned buff chaining. When you get access to certain abilities, whether it be certain buffs or debuffs in this case, perks will appear that will allow you to chain them into a buff of a next state. So what I mean by that is, well, I'll use this example. Burn gets access to slow. The perk will allow you to your burn damage to deal slow to enemies. And this is good for fire in particular, because slow can chain into disarray. What is disarray? Well, disarray is a status that causes all damage that the target receives to be increased or decreased by a random amount based on the number of stacks they have. Now, in this game, you attack so frequently with so many attacks, on top of the fact that disarray has a higher chance of being beneficial to you than negatively, that anything that can apply slow, you're pretty much also gonna want disarray to maximize the damage. It's a lot of damage increase. It's a massive DPS increase. So, for fire, having access to slow, which then converts into disarray, it's a bit weird because you need to basically get 2 buff chains, but it's really strong. Also, this song is great. I gotta finish another Crap's Treasure. I'm going through Aggro Crap's other game right now. I loved Going Under. My friend recently got me another Crap's Treasure, which I'm enjoying a lot, despite the fact that I don't really like Souls-likes, so that's fun. Music is also fantastic in another Crap's Treasure. I gotta listen to the soundtrack when I'm done with that game. His bananas are bananaing. Alright, on to Pyromancer's individual skills. I think this character has 2 general paths. You can either go full force with fire, or you can go into shadow for doom stacks. So for fire, you have access to Fire Slash, which is a big old slash, shoots a big old flame wave in front of you, that does burn, and applies haste. What is haste? Well, haste is simple. Haste just gives you more movement speed. It's pretty nice. They also have Fire Walk, which as you move, you will leave behind a trail of fire that will constantly burn enemies who are on top of it. This is really good because you're gonna get chased a lot. YouTube hates me today. YouTube hates everyone. It knows. So yeah, those are both pretty good skills. As for the unique shadow skills, Yeah, that's also probably not helping. Yeah, streaming plus data is not good. You don't need a good connection, you need a consistent connection. And yeah, data typically funky with that. Anyway, yeah, their unique shadow skills for their shadow weapon are blah 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 blah. Reload 3 times, Jesus. Yeah, you know what's weird? Twitch doesn't let me like lower the video quality. It's like always going at base quality effectively, which is also not fun. I really wish I could lower the lower like stream quality on Twitch. I don't think you can do that until you get like more viewers, which is really annoying. Not gonna lie. But yeah. Anyway, the shadow weapons. Jeez. Dark Swarm, which shoots projectiles that move in random directions, but apply Doom and deal Disoriented. Let's start with Disoriented. Disoriented increases the amount of critical hit damage your target takes, which is very good. As for Doom, Doom is a pretty unique dot. So, Doom does damage like other dots, but it also has a unique condition. If your entire target's HP bar is filled with Doom, so basically if you deal complete Doom rather than kill them, they die immediately. Which you would think would make it the best status condition in the game, but they did balance it out rather well in that it is very hard to apply Doom in large quantities. So, Doom overall is pretty good, but it's just not the best. We'll get to that one in a moment. Their other unique weapon, skill, is Gathering Shadows. Gathering Shadows spawns a bunch of dark pillars around you that then go towards you. So basically, you spawn a bunch of projectiles around, and then they go towards you, collapsing. You're basically the central point for not three, in this case 6 pillars, which is quite nice. I think fire is better choice overall, and overall, I think this character is good. I think the Pyromancer is quite good. Up next, the Houndmaster. Let's start with their access. They have access to nature, fire, projectile, bomb, and blast abilities, which are all very good. Some better than others, which we'll get to. Their passive stats, they have 20 less HP, 15 damage modifier, 10% less movement speed, 10% plus 10 extra health per crystal, and 25 area modifier. Yeah, they get a bit more health. That's weird. That's a weird one, not gonna lie. Honestly, the biggest issue here is the 10% movement speed. I hate that they have 10% less movement speed. That is beyond annoying. This character is very slow. As for their passive skill, boop. Yeah, I have the Soulstone wiki open because I have the game open too. And meanwhile, in-game is really annoying because the in-game doesn't have their passive skill unless you go over to the skill tree for the character, which is really fucking awkward, not gonna lie. Like, it kinda does, but it kinda doesn't. It doesn't give you the full picture. It's really weird. Anyway, this character's unique passive is Hound Feast. As you kill enemies, they will drop meat. Meat for what? Meat for your hounds, because the Houndmaster has a bunch of hounds with him, a whole bunch of good boys that help him fight enemies. Anyway, you give them meat. If you collect enough meat, you'll level up your hounds, but if you do not give them enough meat after a certain amount of time, they will level down by half. They go down by a lot. So you gotta constantly grab meat. The meat that is dropped by enemies is based on the strength of the enemy. The stronger the enemy and the bigger the enemy, the more meat you'll get. And this is a lot, and I mean a lot of damage. Upwards of 900% extra stats on your hounds for max level, which I will say you will very, very rarely get that much. Does the skill post? What do you mean by that? It's my favorite Mario Galaxy song. Brain's braining. Anyway. So yeah. Leveling up your hounds. Checking to see if live chat's still works. I would hope so. It's super delayed. Yeah, it's running off of a convert from the YouTube. It's generally going to be delayed by about another 3 seconds compared to the YouTube. And mind you, I already have like lowest delay on for both. So yeah, streams are funky. So yeah, the Houndmaster's hounds are super important to their damage, and you usually hover around the 4 to 5 range, which is still a huge amount of damage that they're doing. So honestly, this is pretty good. As for their artifact power, the Houndmaster's artifact power is Feral Awakening, which basically just transforms your hounds into like super hounds and gives them even more stats. A lot more stats. Like just a shit ton of stats. And interestingly enough, this has basically the same stats getting boosted for most of the abilities, but just different levels. So they'll rearrange it. For example, the video on mobile's broken, chat for PC's broken. Twitch just hates everyone. For example, the version of Feral Awakening for the bomb weapon that Houndmaster has is damage modifier 150%, critical chance 50, cast frequency 40, and area modifier 150. Meanwhile, for example, the poison one is damage 200, crit chance 50, cast frequency 50, and area 50. So it's essentially the same general buff, but instead of different statuses, it's just rearranging the buffs a little bit, which I think is quite neat. As for their unique skills, we have the Bear Trap, which leaves behind a trap on the ground that applies bleed and applies weakness. Bleed is really good. It is, as you might guess, just a pretty simple dot. It's a really good dot that also does more damage if the target's moving after you. And weakness, as we mentioned before, is very good for dots. Overall, I'm not the biggest fan of traps. I think they're pretty awkward when you're dealing with, like, bosses in particular. They're fine when you're dealing with regular enemies, but most regular enemies don't really give you that much trouble, so I don't feel the need to get the traps most of the time. Their other unique skill is Shrapnel Mine, which leaves behind a mine, explodes, and shoots a bunch of projectiles, 12, and then applies more bleed, which is also pretty good. Their final skill is Weakening Grenade, which throws a grenade in front of you, does damage, applies bleed, and Disoriented, which, as we mentioned before, is critical hit damage, which is very nice, as well as having Impactful, which does more damage basically the closer to center the enemy is when this attack goes off, which is quite nice. As for their unique weapons, this character has all 5, and I'm gonna be real, I think there's merit to using all of them for this character. So I'm gonna go over all of their weapons. Their bomb weapon gives them Mortar Shot, which shoots a basic shot and applies bleed, which is quite nice. Their second one is Bombardment, which is a bunch of bombs all over you in a large area, applying bleed. This one does more damage based on area modifier, which is quite a unique modifier. Also, fun thing about this character, their hounds will change breed based on which weapons you're using, which is quite fun. This character's blast weapons give them buckshot, which shoots a conical shot in front of you and gives you ammunition, as well as having the trait brutal. Ammunition is a very fun buff condition. When you stack it up to 20 times, the next skill you cast gains 5 charges of multicast, which is very cool. You can go over, if you have enough things that give you ammunition, you can go over 20, and basically constantly have things getting multicast, which is quite fun. Meanwhile, the brutal trait increases the direct damage that the ability does based on how close the target is when you use it. It makes sense. It is buckshot, after all. The second unique ability they have is Power Blast, which does damage and gives them ammunition. It's a nice old shot in front of them. It also has Devastating, which causes direct damage by skills that have it, multiplied by 3 on critical strikes. Yeah, it just does triple... not triple. Basically just 3 times... Well, this game is a unique crit system. Well, not really unique for games of this genre, but long story short, you can go over 100% critical hit chance, as well as 100% critical hit damage. Long story short, at the end of whatever that is going to be, you'll deal even more damage 3 times afterwards, which is quite nice. Their unique poison skills are Pesticide Burst, which shoots a big ol' blast of poison all in front of you. There we go. Sitting here thinking. Yeah. Continuous pillar of poison. Which is very nice. Which applies poison quite frequently, every 0.25 seconds. That's really good. As well as Threshing Blast, which shoots a conical shot, which does damage based on the number of poison stacks the enemy has. Yeah, it's a poison kill skill. And you get ammunition from it. Poison is the best status in the game. Well, the best dot in the game. Let me rephrase that. It doesn't see me watching since you're not in the official Twitch. That's fine. I noticed it tends to do that. I don't think it does that with YouTube. But yeah, for Twitch it does that. It's a bit awkward. It's like I'm talking to myself. I'm not talking to myself. But yeah. Poison is really good. Like I said, it's the best dot in the game. Why is it the best dot in the game? It just happens to have almost always the best good, unique skills on top of having just the best generic skills. Like, I'm not going to talk about them too much, but one of the generic poison skills is a kill skill. And a really good one, because it's one that you control. It's targeted, called Pestilence, which is very good. Shadow does have a kill skill in the generic pool, but it's random, which is not as good. Which is really annoying. The Houndmaster's projectile weapon gives them Bolt Barrage, which shoots bolts in the target direction in a large spread, and gives you Aptitude. Aptitude increases your critical hit damage per stack, which is quite nice. Their other unique skill is Cyclone Shot, which shoots a projectile that like shoots in a pattern around you, which is very nice. It also gives you Aptitude. And then finally, their newest weapon, their fire weapon, their unique weapon has Blazehound Shot, which shoots lava, which bounces along the ground, does damage, applies burn, gives you haste, which is quite nice, and has Impactful, which does more damage based on how close the target is to the point of impact. On top of that, there is Lava Howl, which shoots lava in front of you, does damage, leaves lava on the ground that applies burn, then explodes based on the number of burn stacks. Yeah, it's a burn to kill skill, and a really good one at that. All in all, I think the Houndmaster is great. Oh, and I barely mentioned all the dogs, kind of, in a vague sense, because they're summons. Summons are really good in series, in games like this. And, yeah, having a bunch of super steroid hounds as you're, like, blasting dudes is really good. It's really, really good. So yeah, the Houndmaster's great. Our next character, the Spellblade. I'm just gonna... I don't like this character. I don't like this character. We'll go over the important stuff first. Their unique stats. Bing, bong, bum, bum, bum. I think I have to skip this one, but it is a very fun listen. You know what's weird? I have, every time I have remixes like that, I make sure to have the artist, like, properly named, and whatnot, and I have it displayed on screen at all times, but I feel uncomfortable with having them play too long on stream, unless it's something like OC Remix, where it's been given express permission to just be able to use those. I downloaded those because I enjoy how they sound, and I think they're good remixes. What I have not done is ask the individual, or even check the individual channel to see if they're fine with it just being played. I know some are, but I don't know if all are, so, yeah. I would highly recommend you go check it out, though. It's a fun remix. Anyway, Spellblade's unique stats. Plus 30 maximum health, plus 20 maximum armor, minus 10% cast frequency, and plus 20% movement speed. Okay, but why, though? So, I already mentioned it. I'm gonna mention it again. Buffing defense in games like this is usually not useful. And the same applies here. This character's passive stats just increase their defenses, which is not good. It's not good at all. The movement speed is nice, but the cast frequency drop is really annoying. All for survivability that's not really impactful. I'm gonna be real. Defense is not good in games like this. They have access to arcane, ice, fire, swing, and thrust skills. We'll talk about those in a moment. And their unique trait, I'm just gonna call these passives from now on just to make this easy for myself. The game calls them ascensions, which makes sense. I'll just call them that. Their ascension is Riftwalker. As you kill enemies, there's a chance that they will leave behind a puddle of energy, and you need to stand in the puddle in order to absorb it. As you absorb it, you'll fill up a meter which has 4 sections. After you fill it up to section 1, a rift will open up, and when you step in it, you'll gain unique skills based on the number of meter you filled up. So if you filled the meter up completely, all 4, then you'll get all 4 abilities. If you haven't, then you'll get less ones. Now, these abilities are actually quite nice. Characters that have abilities like this, rather than getting stats, instead basically get free extra attacks. And they're much better served on other characters than this character. So, Arcane is not good. That's the best way I can explain it. And thankfully, the unique skills that the Ascension gives are good. But you need to be in those puddles for quite a while until you start upgrading the Ascension in order for it to be as convenient as possible. It's kind of annoying. It takes so long early, and I don't really think it's worth it late. Sadly. I am tired. The artifact power that the Spellblade has is the Ethereal Shadow, where you will create a clone that will cast both of your weapon skills at nearby enemies. Now, thankfully, this is pretty good. Unfortunately, it only is 1 clone at a time. This could really be buffed up and not really change anything, I'm gonna be real. The character needs it. Them being locked to 1 clone unless you fucking get the Harmony Rune. Does Harmony Rune even affect these? I should have checked that beforehand. Does Harmony Rune affect artifact powers? I would assume so, but don't quote me on that. But either way, yeah, you only get one extra guy, and you really want more, because it only casts your weapon skills, not all of your skills. So, let's talk about those weapon skills. For the rest of this, I'm going to ignore Arcane unless it's actually good, but I'm going to talk about it here to explain why I don't like it. Arcane Slash is the base one for the Arcane weapon, which slashes in, you know, in front of you. Who would have guessed? And you gain Finesse and Radiance. Radiance is a unique trait to almost all of the Arcane skills. When you get 12 stacks of it, you will erase the stacks and shoot a beam, which does, in the direction you're facing, which does heavy damage and applies Fragility. And we already mentioned Fragility if we like Fragility. Actually, no, we have not mentioned Fragility. Fragility is a unique trait, is a debuff that causes, enemies with it to take increased percentage damage. Just straight up. Which is, really good, actually. That's quite nice. It's actually really good. That's a lot of damage. Like, it can't be that bad if it's doing that, right? Oh! No, it is. So, recently, when they added the last two characters of the game, those two characters had skills that would apply, they unlocked new runes. Runes are a pre-game, essentially a skill set you can pick that give you specific buffs for specific things. And, they buffed a lot of the ones that I will call attack buffs? How would I phrase these? There's 4 of them. Radiance is one of them. Is it the worst one of them? It might be. Yeah, it is. I think it is. But yeah. Despite having something as strong as Fragility attached to it, yeah, I don't think it's, I just don't think it's worth it. And which is really weird, because Fragility in a vacuum is really strong. Really, really strong. Because it's all damage. It's all damage, and it's percentage-based. And that's not enough to save Arcane. I feel the need to stress that. Alright. So. I am tired. Now, that being said, I think their other weapons are a lot more worth it. Their swing build has Slash, which does damage and gives you Bulwark and Finesse, which is quite nice. And they have a unique one called Uppercut, which applies Stun and does more damage based on the number of Finesse stacks on you, which is also quite nice. It's not bad. Oh, I never talked about their unique character skills. That's because they're all arcane, but I'll mention them anyway. There's Arcane Assault, which basically shoots a big old beam in front of you, and does damage based on the number of Fragility stacks the target has. Except you really don't cast these frequently enough to have that many Fragility stacks on enemies, which is the main problem. It's good otherwise, you know. There's Arcane Blade, which does damage and gives you Finesse and Radiance, which, whatever. There's better things to get Finesse, and it's fine for Radiance, honestly. It gives you 2 stacks of Radiance instead of 1, which is quite nice. And then there's Arcane Rift, which leaves behind a trail of arcane energy and does Fragility on enemies that step on it. That's fine, you know, free Fragility. And it's Fragility for other builds, which is probably more important. they have access to ice. Their ice things, I think, are actually quite nice. There's Arctic Assault, which hits at hits on a line in front of you, applies Disoriented, which is quite nice, and gives you Icy Veins. What the fuck is Icy Veins? Well, Icy Veins is another attack buff. This time, instead of shooting a laser, when this one maxes out, starting at 12 stacks. No, I'm sorry, not starting at 12 stacks. I gotta double check something really quick. Is that applying there right now? Oh no, it is 12. Well, that's quite neat. Alright. I gotta double check that. It is 12. That's right. Yeah, that's right. They fucking lowered that too. I forgot that they changed that and then also made the root. I'm a potato. Anyway, Icy Veins builds up, and then when it builds up and you get all the stacks, you shoot out ice projectiles towards enemies that do a lot of damage and apply slow. And we like slow, because slow can chain into disarray, and we like disarray, so that's actually quite nice. On top of that, they have Frozen Blade, which is basically a boomerang sword. You get Icy Veins from it, and it also has Devastating, so does way more damage on crits, which is quite good. Their fire ones are also quite good. There's Firestorm, which is a big old fire swing, and applies burn every 0.3 seconds, which is really good. And gives you haste, which we like haste, as well as having Fiery Blades, where you can summon up to 6 basically fire swords that go around and attack enemies, which are also a kill skill. Yeah, they do more damage based on the number of burn stacks on the opponents. That's actually really good. On top of that, these summons have Cunning. So, Cunning is a unique trait that some summons have, where they will prioritize dangerous enemies, like bosses, basically, instead of going after regular enemies. Not all summons have this, but the best ones tend to. On top of that, are their thrust weapons. Yeah, they got thrust as an additional type for Spellblade, and thrust builds are not bad, but there's better you could be doing. So I'm not going to be mentioning them from now on until I think it's relevant, but I will say a lot of thrust things have Exposed. Exposed increases the direct damage a target takes based on the amount of stacks, which is a very good debuff. So yeah, I don't like the Spellblade. I don't like Arcane, and I feel like the stats they start with just hinder them in runs so much. I just don't like them. I don't think they're complete garbage. Only one character is going in ass tier, by the way. There's only one character I think is genuinely dog shit. And it's not Spellblade. Up next, the Arcane Weaver. So the Arcane Weaver is also someone that starts off with Arcane. They also have access to Chaos, Ice, Fire, and Holy. This is our first mention of Holy. But let's talk about their stats first. They have minus 20 health, plus 10 damage, minus 20 armor, plus 10 cast frequency, plus 15 experience. Yeah, they level up faster than everyone else. And hey, these stats are basically the exact opposite of the fucking Spellblade, so I like this character more already. Their Ascension skill is when you kill enemies, or it's called Mana Infusion. When you kill enemies, they will drop mana crystals. If you gather enough, you will become buffed and gain a bunch of stats. Very nice. Very simple. Very good. Their artifact power is the Mana Beam, where you will summon basically crystal turrets that will shoot lasers towards you and deal damage to any of the enemies in between you and the turret, which is quite neat. They'll also apply different effects based on the attribute you're using. For the arcane weapon, they will apply Brittle. Brittle is dog shit! Brittle just increases the damage the enemy takes by a raw number based on the stats. Which is good early, terrible later. So many of the buffs in this game are percentage based because they're meant to scale, right? This one doesn't. This one doesn't. It is just a raw number that they take, and it's not good. And it's also really hard to fucking stack on top of that. Like, all the things that apply Brittle are really, really, really bad at applying Brittle. This is the one exception. This artifact power is actually good at applying stacks of things, but it is much better served for their fire weapon, which applies burn, or their electric weapon, which applies dazed. Dazed is a unique trait to electric weapons, which increases most of electric weapons, I'm pretty sure, that increases the target's critical hit chance. As weird as that is. So yeah, you have a higher critical hit chance against enemies with daze, which is, you know, pretty good. I mentioned it's on a lot of electric stuff, which it is, but this is the holy weapon, which is pretty funny. As well as, for their ice weapon that applies slow. So yeah, that's a really, really, really good artifact power, to be quite honest. You'll have a bunch of those turrets all over the place, pretty much. And by all over the place, I mean basically in between you and the target. They're gonna be fucking torn up. Speaking of, let's go over their character traits. I really don't want to because they're all arcane, but I'll do it anyway. Arcane Conjuration summons pillars around you that then converge on you. Hey, I've heard that before. It applies Brittle and gives you stacks of Radiance. Arcane Orb shoots an orb that then starts shooting in all directions, which is quite fun. Gives you Finesse and Radiance. And then Arcane Shield is a unique buff that gives you a shield. And then when it expires, it'll explode and do damage based on the amount of damage it is absorbed. Which is quite neat. I think that's actually quite neat. All that being said, let's talk about Holy, since it's the first character with Holy. Holy has a unique buff called Purity. Purity builds up and then disperses, similar to something like Icy Veins. It shoots a wave of light which damages enemies, and if you hit at least 4 enemies, it'll also heal you. And honestly, it's really good at healing you. I think that's something Holy does really good, is sustain. So yeah, honestly, Purity is pretty alright. I don't think the damage is that great, but in exchange for healing you, I think it's fair that the damage isn't that great. I just wish the attacks were better. Yeah, that's the big problem with a lot of Holy. They don't tend to do a lot of good damage at all. A lot of Holy things, even if they don't have Purity, don't really do that much good damage. The one upside is the skill Might. Might is unique to Holy. It increases the damage modifier for you and allies. Yeah, it is a unique buff skill that only Holy has access to. Which, mind you, which means even if you're not using Holy, Arcane Weaver does have access to Might, which you might want to take. I'm not the biggest fan of the buff skills in this game, not because they're bad, but because I usually find that personally I prefer just having an additional weapon. But Might is a really good buff skill, so it's a pretty good option to have. I don't think their fire is necessarily great, but it is usable. Fire missiles shoots out a bunch of fire missiles and then apply burn and do a bit of splash damage on the targets they hit. Fire pillar summons a big old flame column underneath an enemy that applies burn and then applies weakness. Yeah, no kill skill, but honestly, those skills are fine. Nah, the real winner here is their ice stuff. Frost Beam shoots a fucking sweeping ice laser that does damage based on the number of slow stacks an enemy has. Yeah, it does a big old fucking sweep and then does a big old burst damage. Yeah, it's a fucking kill skill. And a really good one, because it's a big old sweeping beam. This one is really funny when multicast is active, because you just see like 5 fucking beams just spraying all over the place. It's great. Their other unique ability that they have is Ice Shield, which summons a bunch of ice balls that spin around you and do a bunch of damage to enemies and apply fragility. That's honestly one of the better skills in the game. It's pretty good. All in all, I like their ice build, but I don't think it's good enough to put them above good. But they are good. They are very good. Good job, Arcane Weaver. Our next character is the Sentinel. The Sentinel is a ranger, which is quite neat. Their buff stats are minus 30 max health, 10 critical hit chance, 10 critical hit damage, minus 20 body mass, 20 movement speed, and an additional dash. Yeah, that's something I haven't felt the need to mention until now. I'm going to skip this one because of how long it is, unfortunately. But I really do like this one. There we go. Yeah, dashing in this game is very important because it gives you iframes. All characters, mostly, start with 2 dashes, so getting additional dashes basically means, hey, more iframes, which is quite nice. Now, what the fuck is body mass? I mentioned they have minus 20 body mass. Body mass is basically a stat that the game uses to determine how easily you are to be pushed around by other things. Usually enemies. So yeah, the Sentinel is basically is lighter than other characters, is the best way I can put it. They have access to Ice, Nature, Shadow, Projectile, and Bomb skills. Honestly, a pretty good suite. They don't have a unique Ice weapon yet, which is really sad. But when they do get one, I can't wait. I think it's going to be pretty fun. Their Ascension skill is Nature's Guardian. After a bit of time, a fucking panther will spawn, and you gotta play tag with the panther. The panther will basically just be running around, and you gotta be near it long enough, and then you will ride the panther, and then get a bunch of boosted stats, which is quite nice. I don't like... let me get a drink of water real quick. My throat is already quite sore, and I've already been doing this for an hour. It's because I was, basically doing the prelim for this for, Remy a moment ago. Yeah, I was replaying through with everyone, to, like, reestablish how I feel about everyone, just in case. And in the middle of that, Remy came back, so, I basically went through the rest of them with him there. So, you know, I've thought about this. I'm not just going off of a whim here, you know. Anyway. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Ascensions that force your movement in awkward ways. I very sadly have to skip that one. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Ascensions that force your movement in awkward ways, and having to chase a panther around for... I think it's like 8 seconds initially that gets decreased if you get the upgrades in the middle of the match. It's very awkward. It's really fucking tedious. But the buffs are good. Like, it's not that it's bad. It's just like, man, it's really awkward. It's especially bad when you're in Titan mode, and then the fucking panther spawns outside of, like, the zone you gotta stand in to, like, complete the mission. I hate this. I hate it so much. I hate when things do that. Their artifact power is basically just an additional attack. It's Arrow Barrage. You'll just shoot a bunch of arrows in the direction you're facing, and then apply a skill based on what you're using. Or, you know, usually. For the projectile build, you'll apply Fragility, which is quite nice. For the bomb build, you'll apply Bleed, which is great. For the shadow build, you'll apply Doom. And for the nature, you'll apply Poison. And all those are pretty good. So yeah, you're basically just applying more of the status you're already applying. Their unique skills are Ricochet Shot, which shoots a shot that bounces between enemies until it travels a certain distance. You will gain Aptitude from it, which I believe is the first time we mentioned Aptitude. Aptitude increases your critical hit damage per stacks you have, which is quite nice. It also has Piercing, which is good. There is Sniper Shot, which does a lot of damage, you might guess. Also has Devastating and Increased Slice. Precise does more damage the farther away your target is, which is quite cool. And then the final unique one is Split Shot, which shoots a projectile that then shoots other projectiles out of it. It splits and then shoots smaller projectiles. It applies Dazed and gives you Aptitude, which is quite nice. All that being said, not gonna lie, I think, aside from poison, because the big problem with poison is that generally speaking, if a character has poison, the poison build is probably going to be their best build. Aside from that, I think all of their builds are pretty good. Their projectile build starts with Shoot, which is just a simple arrow that does damage and gives you Aptitude. They have Rain of Arrows, which then creates a big old circle that does constant damage to enemies inside of it, which is very nice. Their bomb builds starts with Explosive Arrow, which shoots a short arrow and then explodes and applies bleed. It also has Devastating, so extra crit damage. They also have Cluster Bomb, which shoots a whole bunch of bombs up in front of you that then blow up into smaller bombs and applies bleed. This one does more damage based on your critical hit chance, which is quite nice. Their Shadow one starts with Obscure Arrow, which shoots in a direction and then bounces between enemies until it travels a certain distance. Hey, that sounds familiar. And applies Doom and gives you Aptitude. Their other ability being Void Trap, which leaves a trap on the ground, but then pulls enemies toward it when it's triggered, which then does damage and then applies Weakness and Doom. Very good. I like that this trap has CC in it. And their poison skills, or nature, is what the game calls them, is Noxious Shot, which then shoots a arrow and then shoots out smaller arrows on impact, which apply poison and gives you Aptitude. And then Venomous Volley, which shoots a arc of arrows that apply poison and deal weakness. Aside, as I mentioned, from the fucking Panther, I think the Sentinel is pretty good. But I'm gonna be real, if their Panther was just a little different, I would have put them in great. Because, like I said, I think all their bases are covered. All their skills and all their builds are pretty damn good. You can't really go wrong with picking any of them. Up next, the Paladin. The Paladin is the worst character in the game, and it's not close. Not even remotely close. This character sucks. Alrighty. So, this character's passive stats. They have 30 health, -5 critical chance, 20% extra healing, 25% armor, -10 movement. But why though? So yeah, that's a problem. As you might guess, this character is supposed to be the big old fucking meat shield. What's the problem with being a meat shield in a game like this? Survivability really doesn't matter when you can't kill the things that are trying to kill you. Yeah, this character basically does no damage. Let's keep going into it. Well, it can't be that bad. What's their Ascension? Their Ascension is Divine Inspiration. This is my least favorite Ascension. Basically, over time, areas of holy light will appear, and if you stand within them, when they expire, you will get a buff that fills, you'll fill up a meter. Now, if you're not in the area by the time it expires, it's not the end of the world. What will happen instead is, it will leave behind a sphere that will still fill up your meter, but at a much reduced rate. Once you do fill up the meter, you will then transcend and then gain a bunch of stats. Good stats, too. A lot of stats. Like, a good amount of stats. It takes forever to fill this fucking meter. And you basically need to be in the circle at a specific time in order to fill it up as quickly as possible. Which is different from a lot of other abilities like this, like, say, the Spellblade. All the Spellblade needs to do is just stand in the circle at all. the paladin needs to be in it in a specific time. Otherwise, they don't get anything for it. It's really, really, really inconvenient. Like, genuinely, it's so inconvenient that you might actually go for so much of the round without actually having any of the buff stats, which is so bad for this character's damage. Thankfully, their artifact power is actually pretty good. You will get Hammer, Blessed Hammer, where you will summon hammers that will spin around you and then do a thing. For Holy, you'll get Purity. For Swing, you'll get Finesse. For Radiant, you'll gain Radiance. And then for Slam, you'll get Prowess. What is Prowess? Because, yeah, I haven't actually mentioned Slam, because Slam is not good. Well, Prowess just increases your damage modifier per the amount of stacks you have. Which sounds good, except it's usually only locked to things that are Slam. Which is not good. Which is sad. So, well, what about their unique skills? Well, you have Beacon of Light, a holy attack that causes damage to nearby enemies, applies Expose to enemies, and gives you a stack of Purity, that's pretty good, actually. Penance, which shoots a holy chain that jumps between enemies, which causes daze and damage, and gives you more Purity, also pretty good. And then there's Templar's Verdict, which summons a sword over a random enemy that does damage, has Devastating, and gives you Purity. Those all sound fine, what's the problem? Their numbers suck! Yeah, these things seem like they have good damage, but the problem is their damage is not on a character that has good damage! That's the biggest problem, basically. This character is not doing that much damage. Like, on paper, the things they do are fine, but they just don't have... They just don't have the damage to make up for it. They almost never have the damage to make up for it. Like, it's really bad. This is the worst character in the game, and it's not close. And mind you, I don't think defensive characters are always automatically bad in games like this. You just need a way for your player to be able to convert that defense into meaningful DPS. And the Paladin just doesn't do that. There will be characters later on who do that later on much better. But a good example I can think of is Sarasvana in Hollow Cure. Sarasvana has an ability, her passive skill, that shoots out brambles when she heals. So the idea for Sarasvana is to constantly heal yourself, even if you're not actually healing yourself. Like, even if you're at full health, as long as you're healing, you'll still shoot out these brambles, right? So you're converting survivability into DPS. Paladin does not have that. They're just a meat shield. Are they the tankiest character in the game? Yeah, sure, absolutely. That doesn't mean anything when you can't kill your enemies. Defense is really bad in games like this, unless they can convert it. And they just can't. The Paladin just can't. Paladin's the worst. Up next, the Chaos Walker. They're doing some Chaos Walking. Their unique stats are 20 less HP, 10% critical hit chance, 20% damage modifier, minus 10 health per healing crystal, which is quite funny. Again, that's such an infrequently used one. It's funny when it appears. And then plus 20 area modifier. They have access to Chaos, Nature, Fire, Shadow, and Holy abilities. But sadly, they do not have a Shadow weapon yet. I will stop mentioning that from now on. And I hope the developers cook with those weapons when they do come out for these characters. This character's ascension is Altar of Chaos. As you kill enemies, they have a chance to drop Chaos Essence, and as you collect enough of it, you'll fill up a meter at the bottom that goes up to, I believe, 5 segments? No, it goes up to 4. I'm silly, yeah, because I can see it, I literally see it in my head. Yeah, it goes up to 4, my bad. Anyway, as you do so, as you fill it up, nothing happens yet. Well, there's a bunch of chaos effigies all over the place, and when you go to them, when you have filled up meter, you will then activate your buffs. And these buffs are unique chaos skills. Yeah, they're chaos skills that only this character has. 5 of them, which is a lot, and 3 of them apply Disarray for free. Which is crazy! Like, that's really, really, really good to just have free Disarray for just existing, basically. Their artifact power is Affliction Orbs. Basically, you'll get orb orbitals the more you cast skills. The ones for Chaos will apply Disarray, the ones for Nature will apply Poison, the ones for Fire will apply Burn, and the ones for Holy will apply Dazed. It's really good. It's just orbitals that just constantly hover around you, and you can get a lot of them if you get enough cast rate. Or if you're using Chaos skills, because it's the first time we get to talk about these. So, Chaos skills almost all have a unique trait of... Oh no, they all do. Of doing random damage. They can do as minimum as 1, and their maximum changes depending on the attack. So basically, it's almost as if they all have Disarray built into them. On top of that, they almost all have the Chaotic trait, which has a 30% chance to instantly cast another skill that you have, even if it's off cooldown. Which honestly is pretty good. That being said, if you trigger something that has Chaotic, it will never be able to trigger Chaotic off the Chaotic proc. So yeah, Chaotic only procs once. You can't have Chaotic chains. But it is still regardless. That being said, I'm not the biggest fan of Chaos as an element. The Disarray is very good, but their random damage does literally go as low as 1. And I'm not a fan of that. The reason Disarray is so good is because it affects your things by a percentage, right? It's not affecting your base damage to a literal minimum of 1. It's, oh, you'll go as low, you'll get this much of a minimum percentage and this much of a maximum percentage. So, it's a sliding scale, essentially, rather than a complete elimination of your damage potential. Which, is much better to have. So, yeah, not a fan of Chaos. That being said, ignoring Holy, because, yeah, their Holy skills are not bad, but it's fucking Holy, so, like, who cares? Their Nature weapon gives you Infected Shot, which shoots out a bunch of missiles that poison enemies, which is very nice. And Corrosion! Corrosion applies a aura of poison around you that poisons enemies every half second. And then you blow up, which does damage based on the number of poison stacks on targets. Yep, it's a gigantic poison kill skill around you. It's really good. Their Fire weapon has Orbs of Destruction, which shoots out a bunch of orbs in the target direction, applies burn, and does more damage based on the number of burn stacks the enemy has. That being said, the fun thing about this ability is its projectiles are random. You'll get a minimum of 1 and maximum of 5, which is quite fun. I think it's a neat way of still making this character chaotic. Their other skill is Volcano Eruption, which summons volcanoes around you, which constantly deal burn damage to every fucking thing dumb enough to walk over it, which will be a lot of things. And those are very simple, but because of the fact that this character just passively has Disarray on virtually everything they do, This is our first top tier character. This character pumps out damage like there's no tomorrow. Also, I'm happy a Cloud Meadow song popped up. That being said, I will depart for a quick moment so I can get some more water, because my throat is already feeling sore. And it is getting hot in my room, because I have to turn off my AC when I stream. So, I will be back. Enjoy the magical sounds of Cloud Meadow. Also, it's a good game. You should play it. Whee! Alrighty, I'm back. Boop. Alright, bam, bam, and bam. Alrighty. Our next character, the Beastmaster. Oh boy, I'm gonna be happy about this one. Alrighty, yeah, the Beastmaster's really good. Let's start off, as always, with their passive stats. They have 20 max health, minus 10 damage, 10 cast frequency, minus 10 experience, and 10 multicast chance. Not gonna lie, kind of a random smattering of increases and decreases, seemingly. But don't worry about it. Oh yeah, I need more water. It's getting hot in my room because it's not raining anymore, and I wish it would go back to raining because it was nice and cool while it was raining. Anyway, the Beastmaster's ascension is Call of the Wild. Basically, after some time, dinosaur footprints will start appearing in places, and if you step on all of them, you'll summon a fucking pack of dinosaurs. Yeah, you'll just summon a bunch of dinosaurs. That's fucking rad. And then finally, what is... Not even gonna lie, probably the worst part about this character, their artifact power, Watchful Hawk. Where yeah, you'll just summon a hawk that flies around you and does some damage. It's not even that it's bad, it's just the least good thing about this character somehow. As if there was a, yay! For Cloud Meadow. As if there was somehow a way to fucking do that. This character has access to nature, fire, swing, slam, and bomb weapons. Or, skills. The nature version of Watchful Hawk will apply poison. The swing version will apply fragility. The slam version will apply shattered. And the bomb version will apply bleed. Now, my main goal is to blow up. Now, the best part about this character, as you might guess by their name, is they are the Beastmaster. Let's go over their unique skills. There's Bestial Wrath, which increases the movement speed and multicast chance of you and allies, which is really good. And then there are other unique ones. We got the fucking Battle Moose, which summons a moose that does damage and applies stun, as well as having Taunt. Taunt is a unique trait that some summons can have that forces all enemies to attack them. Yeah, this guy has extra survivability just because he's not the main target anymore. That being said, if you still get too close to enemies, they will hit you instead. So just make sure to keep your distance from your moose. You know, just stay away from all your fucking meese and you'll be a-okay. Their other unique skill is the War Tiger, which summons fucking tigers that apply bleed. Also, has cunning, so they'll go after important targets first. Very good. Not gonna lie, I think this character is so busted, I might be able to go over all their unique skills. So we'll start with their nature weapon. It has Venomous Strike, which is a slash in front of you that does poison and gives you finesse. And their other one is the Plague Viper, which summons a bunch of fucking vipers that spit poison at enemies, which also apply weakness. And they have cunning, which is very good. Very good vipers. The Swing weapon has access to Wild Strike, which of course swings in front of you and does extra damage based on the number of summons you have with you. It also gives you finesse. Very fun attack. The unique summon for this one are the Boars, which apply fragility to enemies. Unfortunately, they do not have cunning. The Slam weapons as Brutal Slam, which slams in the target direction, does extra damage based on your maximum health. And that is actually really good. Maximum health is the best defense stat to increase because it's the most efficient, generally speaking. On top of having the most synergies with a lot of other things, you also get prowess from this attack, which is quite nice. The unique summon for this is the Cave Bear, which do damage, a lot of it, as well as having their own unique buff. Yeah, they just buff you and nearby allies with more damage and maximum health, on top of having Taunt. I sadly have to skip this song. So yeah, the bears keep you alive and buff you. What good friends. And the Bomb weapon has access to Spider Cocoon, which, as you might guess, plants a bunch of spider cocoons, then blows up, which summons a bunch of spiderlings that apply weakness and bleed. And the other ability it has is the Spider Queen, which then summons the Spider Queen that spits bombs at your enemies that apply bleed and weakness. But while your little guys do not have cunning, the Spider Queen thankfully does. Yeah, virtually every build the Beastmaster has access to benefits from having a bunch of summons, and having a bunch of summons is a really good thing in games like this. That means more enemies are hitting things that aren't you, on top of you basically having more attacks. Summons are basically the most efficient attacks, generally speaking, outside of the kill skills in this game, but this game is rather unique with the kill skills. So yeah, the Beastmaster is very true to his name. It is quite the master. Alrighty. Up next, we have the Assassin. The Assassin's unique stats. They have 15 cast frequency, 25% movement speed, minus 10 dash count, minus 10 area modifier. Those are all really good stats, especially even the area modifier one, because believe it or not, that's something you can pretty easily fix. So you know what? It's not that bad. They have access to nature, shadow, swing, thrust, and bomb skills. Those are all also pretty good for the most part. Their ascension skill is Bounty Hunter. After some time, an enemy will appear on the map that the game makes you kill. If you do kill them, you will gain a bunch of stats as well as be in stealth status. What is stealth status? I'll explain that when I get to the other weapons. When I get to the weapon skills. The artifact power that the assassin has is Shadow Dance, which emits a constant aura around you that applies a particular status. Not to mention, you will become elusive and have the ability to walk through enemies, which is quite nice. So, for your thrust weapon, Shadow Dance will apply Bleed. For your swing weapon, Shadow Dance will apply Fragility. For your bomb weapon, Shadow Dance will apply Disoriented, which I believe is the first time this has popped up. Disoriented. No, it's popped up before. I'm being silly. And as you might guess, the Shadow one constantly applies Doom. Honestly, pretty good artifact power. So, how to explain this character? You know what? We'll start with the thrust weapons, because I think this is a good position to explain. The starting skill is... Yay! Any day I get to hear Poison's theme is a happy theme. Happy day. I need to fucking sleep. I wish Poison was here right now, and I would have a nice, comfortable lap pillow to sleep on. I need a fucking nap. Anyway. Sinister Strike is the starting for the thrust weapon, where you stab in the target direction and do a good bit of damage. You gain Form and Haste, which I believe this is the first time I've actually brought up thrust. Form gives you increased critical hit chance, and almost all the thrust skills have this, which is quite nice. We have mentioned Haste before, so I will not mention it again. And these skills that the assassin have, some of them have the trait Ambush. Ambush is essentially a conditional that these have, similar to Devastating or Brutal, where these will apply if you hit the target from behind or while you're stealth. So, the Ambush ability for Sinister Strike also makes it apply Bleed, which is quite good. Their other skill for this thrust weapon is Eviscerate, where you will strike in a target direction, apply some Bleed, gain Form and Haste, but it will become a kill skill if you're stealth, which is quite neat, honestly. But you need to be stealth or in ambush. We'll just refer to it as ambush from now on, because it also works when you hit them from behind. Now, what are the best ways to utilize this? Well, let's go over their character skills, because this is our first character that has 4 unique character skills. So let's talk about them. Rupture does damage in a long line in front of you, and can stun enemies, which is quite good. Also gives you 4. Good attack. Shadow Step creates a portal that allows you to teleport to a different location on the map. You'll basically telefrag anything when you come in or out of the portal and apply Doom, as well as giving you a second of invincibility, which is quite nice. But the real stars of the show here are Smoke Bomb, which is a smoke bomb, but more importantly, while you're within the radius of it, all of your attacks inside it will be considered as ambush, which is quite good. It also applies Disorient to enemies who are inside. And Summon Assassin Enclave. Yeah, you can summon up to 12 assassins that will run around and apply Bleed and fight enemies. They also have Cunning, which is very good. So yeah, you basically need Summon Assassin Enclave and Smoke Bomb. Cause yeah, I don't feel your passive is up enough to really warrant this most of the time. It's really awkward, honestly. Thankfully for me personally, the character's bomb weapons don't rely on ambush, but the ambush is like really good for a lot of these. Like, that's the thing. It's not that the ambush is bad. You just need to be in the condition to utilize it properly. And it's like really unfortunate because like they're good. Like I find it a bit too inconsistent and inconvenient. I'll put them in good. Like I'll put them in good. I don't think they're so terrible. I really feel that Ambush needs changing of some kind. Cause it's really, even with all the stuff they have access to, it's really just too inconvenient to actually utilize properly. Gotta skip this one, sadly. Yay. Our next character, the Elementalist. Going over their unique stats, this character has minus 20 health, 30 damage modifier, minus 10 cast frequency, and 20 area modifier. Those are all honestly pretty good. The cast frequency kind of sucks, but that's something that's correctable. And you know, Now, you know what? I'll just go in the normal order I go. This character has access to Ice, Nature, Fire, Electric, and Earth for their skills, which is those are all pretty alright, except Earth, really. Earth kind of sucks, not gonna lie. There's been a few times where Earth has popped up, and I just haven't felt the need to mention it, because it hasn't been worth mentioning. That being said, the Elementalist Ascension is Elemental Overload. As you kill enemies, they will drop Elemental Orbs. If you pick up 3, you will do an attack based on the orb you picked up. Ice Orbs will give you Glacial Rays, which will constantly spin ice beams around you that apply slow. Earth Orbs will summon Earth Orbs that rotate around you and apply Brittle to enemies, which fucking sucks. Fire Orbs give you Ember Fox, which summons a bunch of fox that run around and hit enemies that apply burn. They don't have cunning, sadly. Electric Orbs give you Electric Discharge, which then discharges electricity around you and applies daze, which is quite good. And Nature Orbs give you Toxic Spears, which summons a burst of Toxic Spears out of you, so basically just a bunch of circles around. And apply Poison. Now, the best way to think of this is to not try to go out of your way to grab specific orbs. Just fucking grab orbs whenever you see them. You don't really get a benefit from stacking orbs of the same orb. So, yeah, just grab them. Like, just grab whatever orb you see. You don't get a buff like if you only pick up ice orbs this time. Nah, just grab them. Fuck it. You see an orb, pick it up. Their artifact power is the Ball of Lake, which I think, hysterically enough, I think it's Ball of Lightning in all of them, but it doesn't really do lightning all the time. So yeah, Ball of Lightning, which shoots an orb in a direction that then bounces between enemies and constantly applies a thing. The electric one will apply daze, the ice one will apply slow, the fire one will apply burn, and the nature one will apply poison. I'm not the biggest fan of the electricity build, so I will skip that. But I will mention literally all of the other ones, going over their unique skills. I'll start with the electric one and go backwards. Tornado spawns a tornado over a random enemy that then starts moving in random directions, which is like the fucking double whammy of why would I pick this up. Which gives you Electrified, which is somehow the first time I've mentioned that because I've skipped over all the other electric attacks. Electrified is similar to Icy Veins or Radiance. You will build stacks of it, and when you build up enough, you will erase those stacks and then shoot off a bunch of orbs of electricity that will do good damage and apply daze. It's not terrible, I just don't like the individual electric attacks overall. Their next unique skill is Lava Shield, which causes a bunch of lava spheres to rotate around you, applying burn and shatter to enemies, which is very good. Most importantly, however, is Frozen Warhammer. This is a really, really good skill. This will slam a big ol' ice hammer in front of you that does damage based on the number of slow stacks the enemy has, and it gives you Icy Veins, and it gives you Prowess. This skill is so good that if your character is using an ice build, most people would recommend that you take the rune that allows you to use other characters' skills so that you can take this. And I completely understand that, because this skill is one of the best skills in the game. Debatably top 5. Like, yeah, it's up there. It's up there. It's really good. Now, we went over that. What about their actual ice weapon? Like, what are the skills on it? Well, it's also pretty good. You start with Severe Cold, which shoots an ice projectile that bounces between enemies until it travels a certain distance. Hey, that sounds familiar. It applies Disoriented and Slow, which is really good. The other one is Freezing Blow, which is a big old cone of ice in front of you that does damage and does more damage based on the amount of slow stacks the opponent has. Yeah, this character has fucking 2 fucking kill skills for ice, and they're both really good. It even gives you Icy Veins so that you can apply more slow. How nice. Now, just because I sat here glazing the ice build doesn't mean that the other ones aren't good. The fire one is also really good, with Ray of Fire that constantly shoot fire beams around you and gives you haste, as well as Heat Explosion, which is a hard fire kill skill. You explode, enemies around you that are burning don't have burn anymore, but they take a shit ton of damage. Really good skill. And then for nature, you have, I'll read this in reverse. Outbreak, which shoots out a bunch of poison boomerangs that go out and come back and apply poison. But they also have Contaminated Cut, which shoots a cut in a target direction, and is also a poison hard kill skill. It will use all the stacks, deal a shit ton of damage, and enemies will explode and they will die, and you will be happy because there will be no more enemies in front of you. The Elementalist is great. I'm even debating top. No, they're not that good. Nah, no. If their Ascension was a bit more like uniform and better, and you could actually tailor it to specific builds in a way, I think I would put it up in great. But I don't think I could do that. Or up in top, but I don't think I can do that. But they are great. That's a very, very solid character. Up next, the Legionnaire. The Legionnaire has the base stats of 40 max HP, -5 crit chance, 30 armor, 2 damage reduction, -10 area. Not the worst stats. You don't lose that much crit, and you don't lose that much size, and you get actual really good survivability. Not bad. Hi, Meepy. I need to lay down. Anyway, their Ascension skill is the Centurion. Basically, over time, weakened Centurions will be in battle, and you need to go over to them and revive them by just standing near them for about a second. If you revive all 6, you will then summon 12 Centurions who will attack with you, as well as gain a big stat buff to yourself. The Centurions, by the way, individually also have pretty good attacks. As most importantly, an attack that applies Shatter, which is really good. Their artifact power is the Summon Catapult, where you will summon up to 4 catapults that will attack enemies, and these have cunning, so they will go after important targets first. And cause different things based on the weapon. For the thrust weapon, it will give you exposed. For the electric weapon, it will apply dazed. For the poison weapon, it will apply weakness. And for the fire weapon, it will apply shattered. Those are all pretty good, honestly. This character's unique skills are Intimidating Shout, which will weaken all nearby enemies, and apply Distracted. What the fuck is Distracted? Distracted reduces the target's accuracy. Yeah. That's an interesting way of adding survivability to an already tanky character, not gonna lie. The other unique traits they have is Shield Wall, which increases the armor power for you and your allies. Now you might be asking why you want to do that. We'll get to it. And then the other one they have is Storm of Spears, which shoots out spears in all directions and then causes damage based on the number of stacks of form you have. Reminder, form is on almost all of the thrust abilities. So, you'll have a lot of stacks of form, which means a lot of critical hit chance, which means a lot of critical hit damage, which means this is doing even more damage. Pretty good unique abilities. Now, I will go over the thrust weapon really quickly when I normally wouldn't, because I would mention the other two, but I will for now. They have Thrust, which hits enemies in a long line in front of you, which gains form, and Resilience. Resilience is armor power, which a lot of thrust weapons have Resilience. And if I remember correctly, Resilience can chain into other buffs, which is quite fun. I don't recommend it with thrust builds as much as I do slash builds, but it is an option. No, the real important things are for their poison and their fire builds. For poison, we have the Corrosive Spear, which throws a spear in a direction and then applies poison, as well as giving you Vigor. Vigor gives you increased maximum health per stack. That's quite good. They also have Purging Slam, which, as you might guess by the name, is a hard poison kill skill. Yep, just does a whole bunch of damage in front of you, removes poison stacks, does a shit ton of damage, and also gives you vigor. This is a really good skill. For their fire weapon, they have Piercing Flames, which hits in a cone in the target direction, does damage. If you hit at least 4 enemies that have burn, you'll also just do a big burn wave out around you that also applies Shattered, which is really good. Their other ability for that is Incinerating Spear, where you throw a flaming spear and apply burn and gain form. Overall, the Legionnaire, I think, is good. I don't think they're great. I think the thrust origin is holding this character back more than a lot of others would. I'm not the biggest fan of thrust builds. I don't like them as much as slash builds, and I feel that other builds generally have a bit more impact. But the Legionnaire is good. Up next, the Necromancer. I think the Necromancer is the best character in the game. By not a lot, but I do think they're ahead. Their passive stat changes are, they have 20% increased healing modifier, 15 cast frequency, minus 10 movement speed, and 20 multicast chance. Hi, Meow. Yeah, you might have seen me, like, play it when I've, like, popped into Discord every once in a while. Let me get another drink here. But yeah, this is a... Well, it's because you're, like, seeing, Go look it up on Steam. You might, like, see the gameplay and be like, oh, wait, I might have seen you play this before. Because, yeah, if you're just looking at the character pictures, it's probably... You almost never see the fucking character pictures. Where was I? Character. Their available skill types are Arcane, Chaos, Ice, Nature, and Shadow. And honestly, those are all pretty damn good. Yeah, I was interested to see which one you would do first, the Chaos and the Shadow. Their Ascension skill is, you know what? We're not gonna mention their Ascension skill yet. We'll get to that in a moment. As a matter of fact, we'll immediately just start talking about their artifact power. Their artifact power is Death's Owner, where you will summon a whole bunch of wraiths that will do damage and apply a effect based on, of course, the weapon you're using. For the... is that the Shadow one? It is the Shadow one. Oh, God. Anyway. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, the artifact power. Death's Owner. You summon a bunch of skelly mans that will pop out and attack enemies with you. First things first, they all have cunning, which is really good. So they're always going after priority targets, which is really great. The Shadow one will apply Disoriented, which is great. The Arcane one will apply Fragility, which is good. The Nature one will apply Weakness, which is great. And then the Chaos one will apply Disarray, which is great. Those are all really good and synergistic with their respective element. Now, their unique skills. We have the Putrid Hounds, which summons up to 7 hounds, all with cunning, that are also kill skills. Yeah, all these fucking dogs are kill skills. Seven fucking hounds that deal extra damage based on the amount of poison on the enemy. Who the fuck thought that was a good idea? That shit does so much damage. Their other unique traits are Skeletal Archers, which summons a bunch of bony mans that shoot enemies for you. These guys all have cunning, by the way. And the last unique skill they have is the Skeletal Mages that will damage enemies and then apply Doom for you. Sadly, they do not have cunning. And now now is a good time, because you might notice there's a lot of summoning going on here. Now is a good time to talk about the Ascension. I will skip this one because of how long it is, as much as I do like it. Bam. Yay. The Necromancer's Ascension skill is Reanimation. As you kill enemies, they will leave behind body parts. If you collect enough body parts, you will basically summon like a big old demon guy that the game calls an abomination that will then attack a whole bunch of enemies. And oh god, is this guy really strong. And it only takes 6 body parts to make one. And you can summon up to 8 of them. So, yeah, you're basically summoning 8 bosses on top of all the other summons you're summoning. And if all that wasn't enough, I'm going to talk about Just Poison here because it has what I think is the best skill in the game. The one that's not the best skill, but it's still really fucking good. Plague Rats, which summon a bunch of rats that apply poison and weakness when they die. Because they explode when they die. And you can have up to 15 rats all over the place. It's really good. However, more importantly than that is Putrefy. Putrefy causes you and all allies near you to do a big explosive poison burst. So let's think about this for a moment. You can have up to 7 putrid hounds, 15 plague rats, 8 abominations, and 6 wraiths. And that's if you're not getting excess. Because if you want to, you can also get more skeletons. You can get the skeletal archers and skeletal mages. Hell, if you want to, you can get frost totem, helper elves, chaos golems, and fucking frenzied rabbits. This one skill applies so much poison to, like, literally everything on the fucking map because the explosion is huge. If you want things poisoned, they'll fucking be poisoned. It makes it so that you really don't even need to grab any of the other poison skills with this character. The Necromancer is insane, and I think they're the best character in the game. I do think they have competition, but right now they're my #1 running. But I do not have these ordered. I don't really think I need to have them ordered. There's not going to be much rearranging between any of them, even if I do, so I think it's fine. Up next, the Death Knight. I'm going to ignore the passive stats for this one first. Consider the following. A superhero whose powers they have the power, divine power of belt to ass. Is that it? All they have is the fucking... The moment the belt comes off, they become omnipotent. Yeah, but so that's like every fucking Hispanic parent ever. Or every minority parent ever. Well, only to people who deserve an ass whooping. Oh, so it's even less threatening. Bum, 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 bum. That's the point. Get more representation for tired Dominican mom. Okay, but the problem with that is that, like, you know, fucking brain is forgetting the term. Fuck it. The judicial response of that is, like, not useful. It's been proven time and time again that, yeah, like, corporal punishment, that's the term. Corporal punishment is really bad. Not only does it not actually solve the problem, it causes negative reinforcement for the corporal punishment, for the authority, for the actions that they took in place, which means they're just going to act out more. Like, it's really... that's the thing, it doesn't really matter. She's beating bankrupt. It doesn't matter! The same thing applies in prisons! Like, corporal punishment, it just doesn't work. Like, in every conceivable metric you can think of, it fails. Superman can throw you into the sun, belt mommy can beat the dog shit out of you with the belt or chancla. I mean, listen. But she can't, though. I don't deserve it. Also, what do you mean deserve? 8th Prestige pieces of shit. Yeah, I'd rather just, like, what's the difference between that and just, like, a fucking superhero, then? She is a superhero. It's not a good one. It's like not even anything I can make fun of here. It's just like it's just a really bad superhero. You're not a good one. You're damn right I'm not. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure there's much more interesting concepts you could have for, like, Dominican superheroes based on Dominican mythology. Or Dominican native animals, or Dominican festivals. Honestly, yeah, I'd rather any of those than just, like, a bad parenting stereotype that's, like, really ineffective at actually doing what it's supposed to do. Oh, see, Darkseid gets ass beat with a... Then draw it! Don't imagine a superhero doing it, just do it! Anyway. Enough corporal punishment. Let's talk about the Death Knight. Alrighty, the Death Knight. Like I said, I'm going to ignore their passive stats for a moment here. Instead, let's go over their Ascension ability. As you kill enemies, they have a chance to drop their souls. As you get enough souls, you will fill up a meter. Once at least one is filled, you can go to a summoning stand that is near somewhere on the map. And then you can summon one of your Ebon Knights. You can have up to 3 bars a meter, so you can summon all 3 of your Knights at once. A good thing about this ability is if you refill your meter and go back to the summoning stand, you can actually refill the amount of time it takes for your summons to go away, which is quite nice. On top of doing that, you get a stat buff for each of your Knights. And each of your Knights all apply Poison, Doom, and Slow to enemies, which is very good. Alright, I'm back. So yeah, these Ebon Knights are really good. Them constantly applying basically the key status effects you want to apply to enemies is also very nice. And their requirement can be a bit awkward sometimes depending on what map you're on or how far away the summoning stand is. But I think that's something you can work with generally. Their artifact power is Dragon Flight, which summons a dragon that basically does a big old trail that basically just leaves a big old, like, breath trail that does a constant thing. It will apply Disoriented if you have the Shadow weapon. It will apply Weakness if you have the Poison one. It will apply Fragility if you have the Swing one. And it will apply Slow if you have the Ice one. On top of that, all of this character's weapons and unique skills are actually really, really, really good. There's Path of Decay, which leaves behind a trail of poison, and we already mentioned how good those skills are. There's Contagion, which is a hard poison kill skill, so removes all the poison stacks and does a shit ton of damage. There's Shadow Grasp, which is a hard Doom kill skill, which is also really good. Then for their weapon unique ones, the passive... the Doom weapon, or the Shadow weapon starts with Obliterate, which does Doom and gives you Finesse. It has Ray of Doom, which shoots a constant beam of darkness that just circles around you, and you can have a ton of these with good enough multicast hits. You're constantly applying doom. You're just a walking ring of doom. The poison weapon applies Festering Strike, which just swings his sword in a big circle around him, applying poison and weakness, which is really good. As well as Lethal Blade, which is a soft poison kill skill, which is very good. The Slash build has... The Slash weapon has Ravaging Strike, which gives you Bulwark and Finesse and has good damage. And Carnage, which shoots slashes in all directions. 10 projectiles all around you, which also gives you Bulwark and Finesse, which is very good. And then the Ice weapon has Frost Strike, which sends out ice shards that apply fragility and gives you Icy Veins, so that means even more slow. And Glacial Affinity, which increases your damage modifier based on the number of slow stacks enemies nearby you have. Which is also really good, because you're going to be applying a lot of slowed enemies. Well, this character sounds fantastic. What's the fucking problem? Let me go over the passive stats. This character has plus 50,000 body mass. No, I did not misspeak. It has 50,000 body mass. They're on a horse, you see. So you can literally move virtually every enemy out of your path if you need to. You can walk right through them. Minus 10 cast frequency, which is not great. Plus 90 movement speed, which is really good. Plus 30 area modifier, which is also really good. They're completely immune to stuns, which is also great. But this character cannot dash. I hate this so much. If it wasn't for that, I would have put this character in top. Gotta skip this one. Cause dashing, as mentioned before, is really important. Cause it gives you iframes. So you now have to basically avoid all the giant circles that happen to appear around you whenever you're playing as this character. And I gotta say, 90 movement speed is not enough to dodge all that stuff. As much as I don't like the fact that this character can't dash, it would be really, really, really dumb of me to put this character any lower than great. Because the character is great. Every build is great. They have everything you could possibly need except the ability to dash. Up next, we got good old Wukong, the Monkey King. Let's go over their passive stats. They have minus 10 critical damage, which is not great, but in exchange, they have 10 damage modifier, 15 movement speed, and 25 area modifier. Honestly, not that bad. They have access to Electric, Holy, Earth, Slam, and Bomb. Oh, that's... Oh no. Oh, I don't like those. Thankfully, the Ascension isn't that bad. The Ascension is Twilight Harmony. As you kill, not as you kill enemies, over time, Yin and Yang symbols will appear. And when you grab 6, you will summon clones based on whether you grabbed the white ones or the black ones. White clones will run after enemies and have taunt. Black clones will stay near you and attack enemies that you're attacking, and they have disoriented. Honestly, this is a pretty good passive. You basically always have extra attacks happening, which is very nice. On top of that, you have the artifact power, King's Illusion, where you will summon a static clone that will constantly apply enemies. I need to fucking lay down after this. That will constantly attack enemies near them and apply Shattered. They can't move, but they do have Cunning, so they will try to go for important targets if they can. So, the Slam weapon causes the King's Illusion to apply Shattered. The Electric one causes them to apply Daze. The Bomb one causes them to apply Disorient. And the Earth one causes them to apply Brittle. And those are all fine. Honestly, yeah, they're fine. I don't know why all the Earth stuff has, like, brittle attached to it. Brittle is such a fucking bad condition, but that's what they decided. Wukong's unique skills are Electric Strike, which slashes in a target direction, and then does extra damage based on your critical hit chance, which is honestly pretty good. Those skills are pretty good damage. Expansive Throw, which causes you to throw your staff down, causing damage based on the number of prowess you have on you, which is fine. And Whirling Defense, which causes you to just do a big old spin! And then you gain prowess and resilience as you're spinning. Also has Brutal, which does more damage the closer enemies are to you, which is very nice. Those skills are honestly all fine. The real problem is the elements they're attached to. You see, the individual weapon skills that are attached outside of those character skills are just not good enough. Even the bleed ones aren't good enough. Like, to the point where I literally... Yeah, YouTube hates people and doesn't like sending notifications when it's ready to stream. But yeah, the Monkey King just doesn't have good individual skills, basically. Haven't slept for 6 days. Go to bed! Because I will definitely be doing that after stream. I'm gonna go make something to eat and lighten the fuck down. But yeah, Wukong, they're not as non-functional as the Paladin, but they need changes. This character is not good. They need some big changes. This character is really bad. Two samosas, 2 burgers, pasta Alfredo. I have not eaten since I woke up, so. Our next character, the Engineer. Oh, good old Engineer. We have, as disappointing as Wukong was, God, I need to fucking bet. Engineer is anything but disappointing. This character is fucking absurd. They are passive stats. They have 15 max HP, 20 critical damage, 10 movements, minus 10 movement speed, and 15% extra experience. That's honestly pretty tolerable. They have access to electric, earth, projectile, bomb, and blast skills. Those are all pretty good. Their Ascension skill is the Mechatron OP 9001. Enemies will drop coal as you defeat them. If you grab enough coal, you will fill up a meter and you will transform into a fucking mech that will constantly shoot out missiles at enemies as well as give you a big old stat boost. It's pretty good. On top of that, their artifact power are the Plasma Sentries, where you will summon sentries that will do something relative. When we continue with Mindless Bandicoot, let's see, after Chrono Trigger, I'm going to do Jack 3, then after Jack 3, I'll do Crash 3. So, yeah, the Plasma Sentry, which will then summon a Sentry Gun, which thankfully all have Cunning, which we always like. Thankfully they all have Cunning, which is very good. And will apply various effects based on the weapon you have. The Projectile one will apply Fragility, the Blast one will apply Shattered, the Electric one will apply Dazed, and the Bomb one will apply Disoriented, which is all very good. Ah! There goes that guy. And, I'm gonna go over these unique character skills backwards, because I feel that's necessary. There's Portable Nuke, which, as you might guess, shoots a big old explosive forward, which unfortunately divides its damage based on the enemy's hit, which makes the skill really not good. There's heavy artillery, which summons mortars that will then fire bombs at enemies that will apply bleed and weakness. Very good. Also has impactful, which we brought up before. It does more damage the closer the target is to the center of the attack, which is quite nice. Spin! However, more important than either of those is the ammo box, which places down a box of ammunition that will cause you and anything and all allies near the ammo box to constantly gain stacks of ammunition. This includes your turrets. So now your turrets are basically always shooting out like quintuple attacks if they're near this thing. 5 times the detail. This is one of the best summons in the game and it doesn't even do damage. It's really good. It's so good that I'd recommend taking it on literally every build, even if you're not using the blast build. But if you are using the blast build, it's very friend-shaped. Onto the individual things, though, because I will mention all of them except the electric one, because I still don't like electric. For our projectile build, we have Burst of Lead, which is basically, that minigun the character has is not for show. You will shoot out a bunch of shots every 0.2 seconds, applying daze and giving you a chance to get aptitude. On top of that, this ability has Brutal, doing more damage the closer enemies are to you. It's a lot of damage. The other one it has is Guided Missiles, which will shoot out missiles and then apply aptitude. Homing missiles, so you can't miss. Quite fun. The blast weapon has Easy Sentry, which builds sentry guns at your position that will apply bleed on top of gaining ammunition. Thankfully, these sentry guns all have cunning. The other one it has is the Easy Mechanical Spider, which will summon mechanical spiders for you. By mechanical spiders, we mean turrets with legs that will then chase enemies, because they have cunning. They also apply Shattered for some fucking reason. They didn't need to do that, because they also give you ammunition. I didn't make them do that. They're really fucking good. And then finally, the bomb ones. You have the QT Bomb Buddy 1000, which will summon bomb robots that will then do a hard bleed kill skill. And you'll summon a lot of these fucking things. So that's a lot of damage. And then the other unique skill is the QT Land Surprise, which will leave behind mines all over you that will then explode and deal bleed. I'm gonna be real. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of the bleed build, but the other ones I enjoy quite a bit. But the bleed build is definitely an option. Yeah, this character, top tier. Up next, the Myrmidon. Alright, we have our good old sea person. We got some fishy fish to fish. The Myrmidon's passive stats are 20 max HP, 15 critical hit chance, 20 armor, and -10 cast frequency. Those are honestly fine. They have access to Arcane, Ice, Holy Earth, and Thrust skills. You're watching AGT, BGT, X Factor, and 2 streamers. Bro's fucking tuned into the metaverse. Bro has all the monitors. So yeah, those are all pretty good stats. On top of that, this character has a very simple ascension. And American Idol, Jesus Christ. Blessing of the Deaths. Every time you kill an enemy, you will fill up meter. When the meter fills up completely, a trident will fall on the map. You run over and pick it up, and you'll get a massive stat boost. It's that simple. Gotta love the ones that are just simple like that. I'm going to read the artifact power last. So, this character's unique skills. We have the Jaw Storm, which summons a ice tornado filled with sharks over a random enemy that will then move in random directions, applying fragility and giving you stacks of icy veins. This is pretty damn good. We have Sea Current, which shoots out waves in all directions, shoots out 10. It applies slow, as well as give you icy veins, and has brutal, so more damage the closer the enemy is to you. Very nice. And they have a unique buff, Precision Wave, which increases the critical hit chance of you and allies, which is very nice. I don't know what to say. I'm gonna be silent until I feel like saying something. Sometimes that's all you need. So I will go over their thrust skill and then their ice one, because I think the ice build is the best for this character, so we're gonna go over those first. We have Tidal Thrust, which does big ol' thrust attack in the line in front of you, as it does. But if you hit at least 4 enemies, you will gain a stack of form. I don't know why you need to hit 4 enemies for it, but it's thrust, so you'll do it. And the other one is Incisive Strike, or Incisive Strike, where you will throw a spear, doing extra damage, Yo, that is a freaky fucking emote there, Jesus Christ. That fucking completely threw me off. Yeah, Incisive Strike. You'll throw a spear, you'll do extra damage based on your critical hit chance. These attacks tend to do really good damage, and critical hit chance is really easy to build with thrust because a lot of the other thrust skills have form. So, pretty good. For our ice build, on the other hand, we have Glacial Trident, which will strike in the direction you're facing. That will then blast ice chains between enemies that will cause slow and give you icy veins. Very nice. As well as Frozen Shard, which will then shoot a shard in a big old circle in front of you. A big old trident will just blast in front of you in a big old circle. Doing extra damage based on the number of icy veins you have, which is not ideal for those kinds of stacking skills, but it will leave behind a puddle that will apply slow, which is very good. So those seem fine. Why would I save the artifact power for last? Well, I think it's the best artifact power in the game. The Gilkin Servants. You will summon 20 fucking little fish minions with cunning. This is the most amount of summons that anything summons in one. 20 fucking Gilkin Servants. 20 little fucking fish fuckers running around stabbing enemies. And the enemies you want them to stab because they have cunning. And as you might imagine, they also apply a certain status. The ice ones will apply slow, the thrust ones will apply bleed, the electric ones will apply daze, the earth ones will apply brittle. Not gonna lie, this is probably the best brittle build in the game, because nothing else is gonna apply brittle as fast as these little fucking demons. I'm contemplating top. Fuck it. Like, genuinely, the Gilkin Servants are that fucking warping. You will basically have every single enemy have at least 1,000 stacks of whatever the fuck you're trying to stack on them with no issue. Oh, and I forgot to mention, there's 2 kinds of Gilkin Servants. There's ranged kinds and melee kinds. They're both good. Up next, the Demon Hunter. Alrighty, our Demon Hunter's passive stats are minus 10 HP, plus 15 damage modifier, plus 10 cast frequency, and minus 5 area modifier. Those are all things that are very easy to deal with. Where is it? There it is. Ascension skill is Demonic Binding. Basically, a demon statue will appear somewhere on the map, and as long as you're inside of it and you kill enemies inside of it, you will fill it up. And if you fill it up completely, you will summon the demon that the statue belongs to and basically get a big ol' summon for you. He's a big old boss guy and he's really strong, which is quite nice. You'll also get a bit of a stat buff for each demon you summon this way. You can have a max of 6 demons, and it's really hard. Yeah, I noticed. I've been watching them when you've been uploading the progress. It's kind of hard to have multiple of these guys, because I don't feel the statues spawn fast enough to really, like, have enough of them, which is quite unfortunate. Because of that, this Ascension skill seems a bit more underwhelming than it actually is, which is quite sad. Thankfully, their other things make up for it, such as their artifact power, Demonic Portal, which will summon basically a little demon turret. It's just a fucking dragon head that'll shoot enemies at you. You can have upwards of 5, and they will do various effects based on their weapon. The Chaos Weapon will do Disarray. The Blast Weapon will deal Shattered. The Bomb Weapon will deal Bleed, and the Shadow Weapon will deal Doom. Also, the turrets have Cunning, which is very nice. And, as for their character skills, there is Chaotic Surge, which increases your critical hit damage and causes all your other skills to apply Disarray temporarily at a 50% chance. That's fucking crazy. That's a really insane buff skill. Disarray is already one of the best, like, statuses in the game. This one is absurd. They also have Demonic Breath, which fires a blast in a cone shape in front of you, does damage, applies stun, and leaves an area afterwards that also applies Disarray. Which is also quite good. Literally, if it wasn't a fucking Chaos skill, I'd like it more. I don't like the modular damage that the Chaos skills have. But thankfully, their last one is not a Chaos skill. It is Twin Impact, where you will fire 2 arrows in front of you that will leave an area that applies constant fragility. Adoru's getting it down. It'll also give you a bit of aptitude. And, as for their weapons, I honestly think all 3 of the non-Chaos weapons are pretty good. The Blast one gives you Quick Blast, which shoots pellets in a long line in front of you and gives you ammunition. Their second skill is Ammo Overload, which hits enemies in a long line in the direction you're facing, which will deal damage based on the number of ammunition stacks you have, which is quite good. But it's kind of hard for this character to build up a high enough amount, unless you're also mixing in some Chaos stuff, which might cause problems, but I believe in you, you can do it. Their bomb skill is Hellspawn Grenade, which shoots a grenade that bounces 3 times that will deal bleed and has Impactful, which is quite nice. And their final, their other skill for bomb is Dreadful Grenade, which will shoot a grenade in a direction that will leave behind an area over time that will apply weakness and then blow up, dealing damage based on the number of bleed stacks that the target has. Yes, we got a good old bleed kill skill. A soft one, but it's a good one. And then their Shadow Weapon has Shadow Spiral, which will shoot out a projectile that will then spin back to you, which is quite fun. That will apply Doom and Disoriented. And then Cursed Rune, which will shoot a rune that will expand over time, and then vacuum enemies towards it once it's primed, dealing damage and applying Doom and Crippled, which is very nice. I don't think we've mentioned Crippled before, or if we have, it has only been marginally. Crippled is an enemy attack size. Yeah, this ability can lower the enemy's attack size. All in all, I think Demon Hunter is pretty good. With that, I will be back very quickly. I need a bathroom break. I hope you enjoy the sounds of the Streets of Rage remake soundtrack. In the meantime, boop. Alrighty, I am back. Alrighty, back to adventure. Our next character, the Cursed Captain. Boop. And what's the thingy? Boop. There we go. So, Cursed Captain's passive stats. They have -10 HP, +5 critical hit chance, +20 critical hit damage, +15 experience. That's really random. Not gonna lie. Those are random, the crits make sense. Every time I see experience, I'm always just confused, not gonna lie. That being said, they have what is probably the most fun ascension in the game. The Ghost Ship. After a certain amount of time in the match, a bell will ring, and then a buried treasure will appear on the map. So you gotta go over to the buried treasure and dig it out, and when you do, you'll summon a ghost ship that will constantly swim by and blast enemies with its cannons, as well as giving you a bit of a stat buff. Cannon shots, which apply fragility, and also the fucking ship has cunning for some reason. It's so silly. It's very fun. It's a fun one. It's very thematically appropriate. Kind of where the extra Snowbiz crate in the Insane Trilogy is. Where? In the red gem path of the 5 reinforced crates in the TNT line, there's an extra TNT for some reason. That's so random. The Cursed Captain's artifact power is also fun. You get a ghost crew. Yeah, you just summon a bunch of bony guys to help you out. Various effects depending on weapon, but thankfully they all have cunning. If you're using blast, they'll get exposed. If you're using thrust, they'll get distracted. If you're using bomb, they'll get bleed, and if you're using projectiles, they'll get fragility. Oh, I didn't go over his available skill types. The other available skill type he has is swing. He does not have his 5th weapon yet. Can't wait for that though. That'll be fun. That being said, I'm not going to mention too much of these, but I will mention the unique character skills because he has a unique buff just for him. Let's go over Eldritch Grasp. Hit enemies around you, causing damage based on the number of stacks of Cursed on you, and gives you a stack of Cursed. What the fuck is Cursed? Well, Cursed is the same as things like Ice Vein and Electrified and so on and so forth. However, instead of doing a big old burst of damage, they'll summon a huge ghost tentacle to fight for you. It's basically like you're playing as Alawi. There you go. Imagine if Alawi could summon like 7 tentacles at once. Whenever she wanted, basically. His other unique buff is Kraken's Rum, or unique buff, I should say, the other unique skill, is Kraken's Rum, which increases your damage and causes all your other skills to apply fragility. Have I ever beaten the Elite Four? My name's Rainbow Dragonite, what do you think? How rainbow could a Dragonite be if they haven't beaten the Elite Four? Have I beaten the 2nd Elite Four? What kind of Dragonite you take me for, huh? I hate when that disappears. Me and my friends are the Elite Four of not getting any bitches. It be like that. Oh, yay. Oh, well. Sort of yay. Love this song. Let me go add it to the description now so I don't forget later. Boop, 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 boop. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Alrighty. Bum, 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 bum. He's testing. Yeah, sorry, I was distracted. Hey, OC Remix has a very fair and reasonable rule to at least make sure you cite where the music is coming from, okay? So if I'm going to be using their remixes, I'm at least going to make sure I'm properly doing that and putting the link to the song in the description. Anyway, getting pitches. Show them your Lego collection. Nah, he's spitting. Anyway. I like this one. This doesn't pop up too often. Anyway, back to the Cursed Captain's unique skills. Powder keg! Yeah, you fucking kick a barrel full of explodey stuff that stuns and bleeds enemies. It's pretty good. Also gives you cursed for some fucking reason. I don't know why. Like some Rayman 2 music. I don't have any. I haven't listened to that game's soundtrack in a while. Also, I'm still having flashbacks from like playing through Rayman 1 again like a few years back. Ubisoft thought that game was okay. back to the Cursed Captain, yeah. Like I said, they have access to blast, thrust, bomb, and projectile. Honestly, I feel like all those builds are about equal. They all have good traits overall. Nothing major. They're just fine. That being said, I will mention Gunpowder Burst for the blast weapon, because it's rather interesting because it has a unique trait called Gunpowder, which forces all of the ammunition stacks that you build to only work for this skill. Which, I can see what they were trying to do with that, but this skill is not good enough to warrant that. Like, not at all. I usually end up replacing this skill, and that's not something I do often with the weapon skills. Your ass has dandruff. Oh no! And joke's on you, I shave my head on a regular basis. Bro, people could probably get a grip on my head like Spalding. All in all, I think the Cursed Captain's pretty good. Alrighty. Also, I'm just gonna fucking open the rest of these over there and do myself a favor. There we go. I'm silly. Up next, the Shaman. Alrighty, oh boy, where do I begin with him? Passive stats, 15 max HP, 10 critical hit chance, 5 damage modifier, and minus 10 movement speed. You will feel the minus 10 movement speed with this character. Be sure to fucking fix that ASAP. Salmon? No, Shaman. He's a big old magic man. Shadow! The Shaman has access to Arcane, Nature, Fire, Holy, and Earth abilities. It's all very cool. Some Shaman noodles. Their Ascension trait is the Ancestral Ritual. After some time, a ritualistic circle will appear, and you need to light the fires by walking along the edges of the circle. When you complete the circle, you'll summon a bunch of fire dragons that have a constant damage aura and do high damage to enemies, as well as gain a stat buff. However, the best thing about this character is their artifact power and their unique abilities. Their totems. The warding totems, in this case, for the artifact power, which summons a totem that fires projectiles that bounces between enemies, causing status effects based on the weapon. These totems also have cunning! Yay! The nature totem applies poison. The arcane totem applies expose. The fire totem applies burn. And the earth totem applies brittle. Honestly, pretty good. As for their unique skills, there's the Bull Charge, which summons like a spirit bull that charges directly forward. It's less of a summon, more of just a big old bull just ramming forward. It does daze, which is very nice. And also does damage based on your maximum health, which is been a while since we've seen that ability. And if there's any character that's going to be really good with that ability, it's this one. You're going to have a lot of health. Especially because of another trait that they have. Or, not another trait that they have, but more reasons to want to build more max health on this character than any other. This ability also has Ancestry. Ancestry is unique to the Shaman, where some of their skills will stack upwards and build up, much like Icy Veins and Electrified, and so on and so forth. However, what these do instead is summon a totem that does damage based on your maximum health. You can summon up to 7 of them, and they last for 2 minutes, which is a lot. A lot. That's so many that you'll easily have a bunch of these fucking things. Their other unique skills are elemental totems unique to nature and earth. The Cobra totem is the nature one, which shoots poison bombs at enemies, applying poison and weakness, as well as giving you ancestry, and it also has fortitude, which is a multiplier of this thing's damage based on your maximum health. This thing's pumping out fucking huge numbers. It's absurd. The other one for Earth is the Stone Spiral, which conjures a totem that shoots projectile in a spiral pattern, which do damage, gives you Colossal, as well as also having Ancestry and Fortitude. I have not mentioned Colossal yet because I've skipped over every Earth Elemental build opportunity because it has just not been good. Earth's just in general not good. This character can make a pseudo exception. So now I get to explain Colossal. Colossal is really simple. It just increases your area modifier per stack, which is quite nice. As for their ideal weapons, I think the nature and the fire ones are the best. Going with nature, you have Vine Whip, which swings a whip right in front of you and slurps enemies towards you, applying poison and also giving you a stack of ancestry. And then Poisonous Thorn, which is just a direct straight attack that applies poison, multiplies the poison damage based on your maximum health, and gives you ancestry. Very nice. Now you might be upset that there's no totem for the other elements. Don't worry, there are. They're unique. The Volcanic Effigy is a fire totem that constantly emits fire around it, causing burn, giving ancestry, and has fortitude. And then Flame Spiral slashes in the forward direction in front of you, dealing damage, applying burn, and applying weakness, and multiplying its burn damage by your max health, and giving you ancestry. See, I mentioned this when I was talking about Paladin. You want a character whose defense supplements their offense? You have one. Virtually every skill this character has, their health contributes to their damage. This character is not just tanky for the sake of being tanky. Their tankiness contributes to their game plan in a meaningful way. Which is something that the Paladin just doesn't fucking do. On to our last two characters. Up first, the Machinist. The Machinist stats are 20 max health, 15 armor power, minus 10 movement speed, and then 15 multicast chance. And I like those a lot, actually. Those are all pretty good. I don't like the movement speed that much, but movement speed is usually the easiest one to fix out of these, so could be worse. Their Ascension trait is Machine Spirit. Over time, energy crystals will spawn, and you go nearby them to mine them. When you mine enough of them, you will activate Prismatic Cannon, which is essentially a constantly activated beam attack, on top of giving you a huge stat boost. This beam attack is constantly applying fragility, shattered, and weakness to enemies that it hits, by the way, which is really good. This is a fantastic Ascension. As for their artifact power, it's really simple. You get Force Field. You will have constantly rotating lasers around you that will apply things. For the Arcane one, you'll apply Brittle and get Radiance. For the... There we go. For the Blast one, you will get Shattered and get Ammunition. For the Fire one, you will apply Burn and Weakness. And for the Electric one, you will apply Dazed and Electrified. And as for the only element we do not have with this character yet, it is Ice. They do not have an Ice weapon yet. Can't wait for that one, because it will probably be their best build. Not to say the ones that exist are bad, but let's just say the Ice character skill makes me excited. But before that, we have Flame Siphon, which is a big old flame area in front of you that pulls enemies towards you, as well as dealing burn and weakness every 0.2 seconds, which I'm pretty sure is the fastest proc timing for any move like this, which is really good. They have high voltage, which is pretty much the same thing, except it's electric, that applies dazed and gives you electric. And then they have an ice skill, surprisingly. Hey, look at the Pikachu go. Hi, Pikachu. Oh, is that a contest Pikachu? It's in the dress. Oh, no, it has ramen. He's eating. Ice Resonance, which fires a ice beam that bounces between targets and applies slow and gives you icy veins. I feel like I've heard that one before, but it's really good. Whew. As for their best options, it's probably obvious, but it's Blast, but more importantly, it's Fire. So I will just go over the Fire one. As soon as the Blast one is, the Fire one is where it's at. Because we have Blazing Ray as a starting skill, which fires a continuous beam of fire that burns and shatters opponents every 0.4 seconds, which is really good. As well as Ember Discharge, a hard fire kill skill in a big old cone in front of you, which is really good. There's not much to talk about this character, because they're just great. They're just great. And our final character, the Samurai. Part of me really wants to rearrange this, but like, they're all so neck and neck that it'd be difficult to really pick one over the other. But the Samurai is definitely up there. This character is absurd. Their stats are -10 max health, +10 critical hit chance, +15 critical hit damage, and an extra dash. We have not had that many of those. Wish we had more. Their Ascension ability is... Oh, hello. Shuffle. You're supposed to shuffle. There we go. Their Ascension ability is Cursed Shrine. After a certain amount of time, Torii gates will start to appear. If you walk through enough of them, a ghost will then be at a grave. If you stand near the grave long enough, it's really like 2 seconds or something. It's not that long. The ghost will join you and basically duplicate all of your attacks. All of your attacks. Not just your main weapons, not just the effects, no. All of your attacks. I mentioned before how abilities that make you move in awkward directions or make you stand still need to have a massive payoff in order to make it worth it. Because you're being forced to move in potentially dangerous areas and literally fucking die trying to get a buff. This one does both. It makes you move in weird ways and makes you stand still and has the best payoff for it. Literal double attacks. Like, it's hard to get better than that. But somehow it does. Because the artifact power for the Samurai is untouchable. It is literally a rapid slash of slashes all around you, like you're fucking Virgil or something. Every 0.5 seconds while it's active, that gives you a different buff depending on which weapon you're using. The slash weapon applies fragility. The doom weapon applies doom. The slam weapon applies shattered. The fire weapon applies burn. This thing lasts for 12 fucking seconds. And on top of that, all these fucking builds are good. Let's go over the unique skills first. There's Last Stand, which emits an aura and applies Condemned and Fragility to nearby enemies every second and gives you Finesse. Condemned is the unique trait to some of the Samurai's skills, which causes critical damage to consume the stack of Condemned and deal 500% extra damage. That's a lot of damage. Like, as if the damage from the critical hits wasn't enough, as if the extra stack chances from the multicasting wasn't enough, as if the fucking damage from the fragility wasn't enough, Now we're just dealing 500% extra damage on top of all of our crits. Jesus Christ! Their other unique skills are Ruthlessness, which increases your critical hit damage based on the number of condemned stacks on enemies nearby. Honestly, not as good as it sounds, because they're probably going to be fucking dead. In case I don't see you. Good night, good evening. Or, yeah, good afternoon, good evening, good night. I can't read! Surely you can't be serious. I am. And don't call me Shirley. And their last unique skill is Scorching Katana, which just causes a bunch of fucking katanas to just spin around you and constantly apply burn. That also deal damage based on the burn on the target. Yeah, it's also a kill skill for some fucking reason. And it also applies Condemned. What the fuck? Have I watched The Truman Show? Yes! And as if... Watch Denpa Shonen Nasubi. I don't know what that one is. The individual weapon skills are also just as ridiculous. The slash weapon has Slice and Dice, which of course slices in front of you 3 fucking times because that's needed. That also builds Finesse and Condemned, and also applies more damage based on the number of Finesse stacks you have. 30 years, they still only have English sub for episode 1 and 2. Goddamn. There's also Ravenous Cut, which cuts in the target direction, bouncing between enemies until the cut has traveled a certain distance, causing damage and applying Condemn. Hey, that sounds kind of familiar. And you have a chance to gain Finesse every time it hits an enemy. As good as this skill is, I usually take other slash skills when I'm using this character. Things like Double Slash and Heartrending Strike, and of course Titan's Cleaver and Subdue. I find those much more valuable than Ravenous Cut. Hulu has an English sub, including Japanese effects being in English. That's fucking above and beyond when they do that. Let's see. The Shadow Sword has Shadow Slice, which does Doom and Condemned, and does more Doom based on your movement speed for some reason, as random as that is. Also has Night Fang, which thrusts the sword in the target direction, dealing extra damage based on the number of Doom, and applies Condemned. Yep, we got a gold Doom kill skill in our character kit, and one that's not random, which is really good. For Slam, we have Echoing Rapture, which sends out 3 shockwaves that apply Disoriented and Condemned, and gives the user prowess. And it's the best footage. I would fucking hope so. They probably had the negatives or whatever, if they were able to change the effects. The other Slam skill is Blade Impale, which conjures a katana over a random enemy that then applies Condemned and Stun and shockwaves after it lands, and gives you Resilience, which is quite nice. And then finally, their Fire. Only in Japan, of course. Gotta love VPNs! For their Fire skill, they start with Molten Fang, which slashes in the target direction, gives Condemned, and then leaves a burning area on the ground that applies Burn, and it gives you Haste. Watch episodes 1 and 2 on stream. I'm not even gonna attempt to try and fight copyright holders by watching anything like that on my stream. No thank you. I would absolutely love to. I'm not gonna fight no fucking... Especially Japan. I'm not fighting Japanese copyright owners. Hell no. I would rather fight Disney. They're at least just gonna send an assassin to my house. It isn't even a season. That's not good enough. And the Samurai's other unique fire skill is Ignition Spiral, which slashes enemies around you, consuming all of the burn stacks and then applying Condemned. Yes, it's a hard burn kill skill, and a damn good one. Yeah, Samurai is really fucking good. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I gotta see if Tobacco has a new album out. Let's see, do I want to move anyone? Let's see. I don't think I do. I think I like this. Do I want to move anyone? I'm looking. Those bottom three are staying there. I'm definitely not moving those bottom three. It would have to be between, like, any of the others. If I were to move anyone, I think I'd move either Legionnaire or, like, Legionnaire and Barbarian up one, maybe, but that's about it. I could see them being in great. Only Hulu has the HD effects footage. That's random. There's gotta be like a DVD or something somewhere that has that then. Unless they genuinely like bought it and then like just for Hulu they fucking did that. Also, I gotta skip this before she starts singing. Do I want to move anyone? I don't think I do. I think I'm happy with this. Never DVD. Really? Let's say you said 30 years ago, then like not even like VHSs. God, I don't think I fucking said, thought of, or even considered the word VHS since I was like half the age I am. Honestly, even younger than that. Jesus Christ. Only on air. That's fucking crazy. I gotta look this up now. Oh, the documenting. Okay, see, that explains it. Yeah, if they're literally doing a documentary on it, then yeah, that makes sense. That's crazy. Although part of me wonders like how much like shit is just like lost media that we'll never fucking find again. Like that like some random lady probably has in like her fucking attic that she's been keeping since like the fucking 60s. But yeah, you know what? I think I will watch that video in the meantime, because yeah, I think I'm comfortable with this list and how it is. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you'll come around for next time. Next time being tomorrow, where we'll actually get back to Chrono Trigger. I swear, I promise this time. Thank you. Later. Whee!